It's almost half a year into this podcast and we still don't have music.
Well, I gave myself, 2 weeks to 6 months, so we're on track.
Yeah, we're there.
I think so. Here's what's interesting. Your end themes, which were very beatbox-based, have seemingly swapped places with the intro themes, which were a little more sing-songy.
Yeah, I know. It's just I like to keep people on their toes. I like them to not know what podcast it is they're listening to.
Oh, is this a podcast? I thought it was How to Not, but no, this is clearly a beatbox enthusiast podcast.
Obviously. Easily mistaken.
Hi, welcome to How to Not. My name is Rob Moden.
And I'm Kaitlyn Alexander.
This is a podcast where we read real WikiHow articles in order to find out how to be real human beings. Follow the instructions to a T.
To a T.
You dot the I's, you cross the T's, and you become a human being.
Exactly. We're steps closer to being humans.
Yeah, it's been over 20 episodes so far, and so I feel like we are becoming more fully realized.
I'm evolving faster than any other human on the planet, and honestly, people should be worried.
If you were looking at that poster of the little chimpanzee that turns into a human being, a person. One of those posters that was made up by those scientists who's trying to pull one over on the mainstream media. Where are you if there's 5 of them? It starts at monkey and it ends at human being. Where are you?
I'm edging away from human being,
past
it. Yeah, I'm evolving into a meta human, like a Flash type person.
A Flash type, as in the DC Comics hero Flash. So your final form will be Ezra Miller.
Exactly.
Or Grant Gustin, Glee Boy.
That's what I'm going for.
Glee Boy, either Glee Boy or Wallflower Boy.
If I don't turn into Grant Gustin by the end of this podcast, I'm going to be sad.
Consider it a failure,
Exactly.
What is the article today?
Well, Rob, the article today is how to clap your hands, and I really hope that you needed this kind of information in your life.
Well, part of it is you feel like you know how to do something, and then you find out that you've been doing it wrong your entire life.
Yes,
I'm trying to think of literally any example in my life, but clearly I can't. So I've clearly done everything correctly.
There you go. My favorite part of this article is the sassy way in which it's written, which you'll appreciate very soon. But let's give some statistics.
Sure.
It's 3 stars. It has 35 co-authors, and it was last updated 5 days ago with 127,000 views.
How many stars did you say?
3.
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 stars.
So 35 co-authors came together and produced a middle-of-the-road,
a mediocre hand clapping guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna learn. What I'm wondering now, what are we not going to learn? What the people who are like, I like this article kind of, but it's not a 5-star because they didn't cover this topic.
Well, obviously we haven't read it yet, but I'm going to say that we're not going to learn how to stomp our feet. We're not going to learn how to snap because those aren't clapping.
Are we going to learn how to say yeah?
I mean, maybe.
Maybe? Hopefully.
Who knows?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, here's the description. It's true, babies do it, and well, but clapping is more diverse than you might think. Is it appropriate to clap your hands after the Allegro passage in a Mozart concerto? What about after a sermon in church? And what's the deal with snapping at a poetry reading?
Oh, boy.
Learn to clap the right way.
How many times have I thought, what's the deal with the snapping? So pretty immediately, either it's going for a very niche audience, or a very wide audience, because it's covering both babies who inherently seem to know how to do it well. They do it well, so they don't need this article.
Babies don't need to read this.
But they're also opera-going babies.
Yes.
So
they're high class. They're boss babies.
The little boss baby. That was the arc of that movie. He had to learn how to clap by the end.
And then by the end, he could clap, and he became a C. I've never watched it. I
have seen the SNL sketches, which might be Baby Boss or something.
Yeah.
But have you seen Beck Bennett does that?
I have.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, quite pointedly, one of the things he does is tries to clap the hands together, and he pretty much puts kind of like the wrist into the palm of one of them.
Which I'm guessing is an inaccurate way to clap, unless it's a baby doing it well, and we've been doing it wrong.
If babies do it well and they do that, then we've been clearly doing it wrong.
There you go. So part 1 is clapping techniques. So we're going to learn a few different techniques to clapping.
Okay.
The basic clap. Open your hands and clap your palms against each other with the fingers held upwards towards the sky. Do it hard enough to get a good loud smacking sound out of it, but not so hard you turn your hand red. That's... I mean, I've never clapped with my hands, all of my fingers facing directly upwards. That feels weird.
Right. It looks like a very religious clap for some reason.
It does. It looks like you're praying and then maybe stopped.
Praying with enthusiasm is what we call
praying with enthusiasm.
Praying with enthusiasm.
Exactly. That's all that clapping is.
The fingers being pointed up is a specific thing, but other than that, could this just be the whole article? I feel like you could just leave it here.
No, there's more ways to clap.
What I'm saying is that they've explained.
Yeah. Yeah, but
as far as we know.
Apparently not.
Well, we're miserable failures in our lives.
We suck at life.
Jeez.
Here we go. This is my favorite kind of clap, because if you see people do this, you immediately know they're douchebags.
Okay.
The royalty clap.
What?
You know when the queen comes out of the castle and deigns to applaud her loyal subjects with a brief applause? Mm-hmm. That's what you're going for. A demure clap can be done just by clapping with the first two fingers, tapping them into your palm. It should make very little noise, giving the impression that you're clapping more than actually contributing to the group.
But
that's not clapping. That's hitting two fingers into your palm and just being like...
Well, you're even doing it louder than I think. I come from a British family.
And so you are accustomed to this.
I could have royal blood in me.
You could be royalty.
Theoretically, maybe.
That's true.
So I feel like I have a natural inclination to do this. Yeah. But even it's a little quieter than what you were doing.
Yeah.
However, I do feel like maybe they'll cover it as a separate clap, maybe more like a golf clap.
Oh.
But the four fingers in the palm very
Which is how I clap. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I never use my...
You never want to make sound.
No, I'm just as light as possible.
Oh, okay.
I just don't want to draw attention.
Is that what you learned, or is this just you don't want?
I don't
want to draw
remember
attention,
learning how to clap my hands, which is a weird thing. Like I think one day I just decided, like I looked around and other people were smashing their hands together, so I was like, oh yeah, that's how you show things are good.
I'm shocked because learning how to clap your hands is one of those formative memories that everyone thinks back on. First kiss. First time you got your heart broken, learning to ride a bike.
First time you clap.
And the first clap you do, even if it's just one.
It's like, whoa, that was a memory. Instant. Mm-hmm. Instant.
It's a formative experience.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And the fact that you can't remember it probably says a lot about, I don't know, your brain being broken? I don't know.
I mean, probably.
Maybe.
Now, this is where it gets weird, Rob. Mm-hmm. Clap without your hands. Not all cultures or situations call for hand-on-hand clapping. Learn to use other types of claps so you'll be prepared to celebrate in all situations. Stomping your foot is a common way of applauding at some camps.
It's not a clap.
Nope.
It's not a clap. Nope.
Wrong. Rapping your knuckles on the table after a lecture.
Not a clap.
Not a clap. To snap or not to snap. The cliche that beret-wearing hipsters snap at each other's poems at jazzy cafes is a cliche based on an out-of-date 1940s stereotype. If you snap your fingers at a poetry reading, you'll probably be the only one. It's like yelling Freebird at a rock concert. This person has something so against people who snap.
But also, they say that with such authority and something that I think is false.
I think that is 100% false, because I've done poetry readings where the appropriate thing is to snap your fingers. You're not supposed to clap.
I can't necessarily say where I was when this happened, but... The confidence that no group of people has ever elected to just snap in applause.
Yeah, no.
Is a falsehood.
No,
it's 100%. A lie. This person is a liar. This writer is a liar.
They're lying.
These 35 authors are a liar.
Also,
a collective
you
liar.
Can't clap without your hands. That's not clapping. That is stomping.
No.
Or that is rapping your knuckles on a table. That is not clapping.
We could look up Webster's dictionary to see what they define a clap as, and I think it would involve two hands. We're not going to.
We're not going to, because that's
why
not
would
who
we
we
ruin
are.
Our own fun like that? But I think we've decided to define clapping as two hands hitting each other
at a force
and
making a
nothing
sound.
else. Is there anything else that we could call a clap?
Well, snapping is snapping. I don't think that counts as clapping.
You know what I sometimes do is if I'm sitting down and I'm very lazy or something, or there's like a certain volume level I'm trying to hit.
You hit your thigh?
Hit the thigh.
That counts as clapping.
That's a clap.
I agree that that's a clap, because you're
Especially
clapping your hand against another part of your body. I think hands have to be involved.
I think, yes. And I think the thigh clap, which sounds like something different.
It does sound very different.
Not sure what. But I think it's grown in popularity since the advent of the smartphone, where you have a phone in one hand and you just lazily clap on the other because you feel obligated to applaud a coworker's presentation
that they're doing.
or God.
I like how in We're getting very distressed over the definition of clapping. I think this is the first time
Well, it's about the principle of it.
It's the principle of the
You take away one of my formative experiences. Maybe I ended up clapping in a completely different way because when I was a baby, I sure probably stomped my foot around.
Me too.
Does that mean I clapped? In which case, my formative experiences that have formed who I am have put together my
wrong.
self-image. They're based
They're
on
wrong.
lies, on a foundation of sand and fog.
You're having a little bit of an existential crisis.
Why
right
can't
now.
this WikiHow just settle on one? You can't write an article about clapping and then just throw in, sometimes when you wink at each other, that's a clap too. We've decided that. No.
Winking is just eye clapping.
No. There are barriers. There are what's the word I'm looking for? Organizational principles. You have to stay within your playground.
Oh, 100%. Mm-hmm. I don't know why that just set me off so much, but it did.
Winking is not clapping.
Winking is not clapping.
Next up.
Clap silently.
Well, I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm not going to like this at all.
In situations in which it's inappropriate to make noise, or when the audience is primarily hearing impaired or deaf, the general way of clapping is to raise your hands with your palms facing away from you and wiggle your fingers. I did know this.
Oh.
So that's
okay,
like
this is a genuine thing. Although I hadn't heard of it, but
me neither.
As soon as you said, a thing that can actually interact with the
No,
deaf.
this is actually amazing.
Got it.
This is a good thing to know. You wiggle your fingers, and that's a way of like doing a silent clap, which is a really inclusive thing. And I'm really sad I didn't learn it till this article.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's wiggling fingers.
So it's wiggling your fingers,
kind of like jazz hands. Which
honestly
sounds
feels
like I'm
more
making fun of it, but I'm not.
celebratory than clapping does.
A little
Something
bit.
about this feels more festive. I'm like, ooh,
yeah,
this is great.
Well,
Aren't you having fun?
No, I guess one way to look at regular clapping is it can be versatile, but another way of looking at it is you can taint it with negative emotion because there could be like the slow clap.
Oh, there's nothing worse than a slow clap.
You can't do slow jazz hands and make it look bad. You can't do that.
Yeah, it's true.
It can only be positive. So I suggest that we replace all clapping with these jazz hands. Or
I agree.
Is there a term that we're skipping over? Is jazz hands just to try and get a verbal idea to the listener?
Sometimes called sparkling.
Sparkling?
Sparkling.
Okay.
It's used to agree or to support a speaker during meetings of consensus.
Cool. Sweet.
Thanks, WikiHow.
WikiHow did something useful.
For once in its damn life.
WikiHow, it's been
20
it's been a long time coming, but you helped somebody out. Next up.
Okay, do the slow clap.
Oh, no.
A slow clap starts and builds gradually into a roar of applause. To start a slow clap, begin clapping no more than once every 2 seconds. Gradually wait for others to build and join in with you. Mm-hmm. Gradually speed up. Slow clapping can mean a variety of things. Traditionally, a slow clap was considered a kind of heckle instead of a celebration, though now it's considered a kind of winking or ironic celebration of something dramatic.
Right. So
it has two meanings.
Long-winded way of saying you're a dick if you do a slow clap.
You're a dick if you do a slow clap.
So at least 2 seconds in between each clap.
Yeah.
I guess you have to count it, is what it's telling you.
Yeah.
And then the gradually faster. So it's like 1, 2, 1. That seems very slow. 1.
That seems very slow.
Then you do a 1.9. And then you go 1.8. And then 1.7. 1.6. And, if you don't have a metronome built into your head like George Michael from Arrested Development, it's pretty hard.
The trick to a slow clap is you have to have a metronome beside you at all times.
Perfect timing. A metronome that isn't gradually getting faster, actually.
And if somebody else messes up,
yep,
throws off everything.
Right.
They go 1.9 too quick, everything's called off.
The slow clap is the most technically advanced.
And
that's why there's a whole worldwide competition for this thing, and it's filled with many guidelines, many technical fouls. It's very competitive.
It is. So that's it for techniques. Now this part is what I would consider the most important part: clapping at the right time. Have you ever clapped at an inappropriate moment?
Sure, but also I feel like here's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like groups of people are willing to go along with clapping more often than people give them credit for.
Oh, like when you land on a plane and then somebody in the cabin starts clapping, then everybody starts clapping, and you're all like, why are we clapping?
Well, also, yeah, I think it's just because the shame of being the only clapper. I can't think of a specific example that I've done, but I can think of plenty of times, like clapping on a plane, where one person does it, and then a few other people go, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Or they wanted to, and they just didn't feel the confidence to do it.
Not.
Like, I've gone to some talk shows, late night shows, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
People always accuse them of having fake laughter, fake clapping.
Right.
It's not that. It's that they hype you up so much. They like spend 2 hours both like trying to get your energy up, let's go cheering, but also telling you, show by show, it varies, but telling you very much, the host is living on your input.
The host will die.
And if you don't bring that energy up, they could... This entire show could bomb, and we could get canceled, and we'll all lose our jobs. And it's on you, the audience members.
Horrifying.
But it does like kind of loosen the lid of the jar a little bit. That you can, if somebody just feels like clapping for a mediocre joke, everybody will do it.
I appreciate that.
So if you watch The Daily Show or Saturday Night Live or
Jon Stewart literally
anything,
feeds off of enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm, he is a succubus monster.
He is a succubus, and
and that's why he's not actually on the show anymore, Kaitlyn. He had to go retire because
he couldn't.
His true form was showing.
He was like, I have to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Wait to clap until you hear clapping.
Okay.
Clapping can be a great way of showing your appreciation, but it can also be rude if you clap at the wrong time. In certain situations, it'll be obvious when to clap, but other times are more ambiguous. Not sure when to clap? The best way to avoid an awkward situation is to wait to clap until you hear applause. Then join in. Use the volume of people clapping around you to keep your volume at an appropriate level. Match your style of clapping to the rest of the crowd.
Style of clapping, you say?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I find a flaw with this because if everybody waits to clap until they hear clapping, no one will be clapping.
Right. That's true.
So how can you do that? Also, have you ever clapped louder than everybody else and been like frightened by the volume of your own
by
clap?
accident?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like a situation where, for instance, there's a group of people in front of you and they're being applauded for something and you know somebody personally, so you like, well, yeah, you're louder on purpose than anybody else. I'm learning that I just have almost no embarrassing situations involving clapping.
Well,
I've done well for myself.
I mean, that's brilliant for you because I've humiliated myself in a few different instances. All right, let's go through them.
Let's do it.
They were mostly in high school when like I would start clapping before anyone else and it would come out like a thunder. Like it would just thunderously emanate from my palms, and then everyone would turn to look at me and I would be like, cool, that was the wrong time to do that.
That's how you got your nickname, Thunderpaws.
They called me Thunderpaws all through
Thunderpaws.
high school. Kaitlyn Thunderpaws Alexander.
I do have almost similarly. I kind of get embarrassed because I apparently I'm just so smart.
Yeah.
That I sometimes say watch a comedy and I figure out where the joke is going like 2 beats too early. So I'm the only one in a group of people, say in a movie theater or something, who like starts laughing.
Oh my
and everyone's
God.
just like, this is not this is a comedy yet. But that's not a joke.
What are you doing?
They're just stating things about them. And it's like, no, I know where it's going.
You're like, I get it.
I remember a specific, it's not really a comedy, but in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, for some reason, this is the example that comes to my head. There is a moment where I think earlier in the movie, or maybe just earlier in the scene, Christopher Pratt had talked about how he had not played catch with his dad, like catch with a ball.
Right.
And then they start to realize that Christopher Pratt has powers on this planet and can make like this energy thing in his hands. And then it turns into a ball. And with his father is showing him how to do this. I immediately realized, they're going to play catch in slow motion because that's where this is going.
Amazing.
But that was about 30 seconds too early, so I was just laughing to myself. And then everyone else started laughing when the slow motion started. And by that point, the joke was kind of old to me, so
you were done.
You're
the hipster of jokes, is what you're saying.
Yeah, if you can be funny, I was there when it started being funny. And,
oh my God.
I was there when it was first funny, and now it's not really that funny anymore because I saw the funny first.
It's true. I saw Deadpool with you, and you did laugh before the jokes landed.
Because I'm just so smart, I know where it's going. Do you remember a specific joke?
I remember many moments where you would laugh, and then like 2 seconds later, everyone else would laugh, and I was like, Rob's on another level.
Did I see that for the first time with you, or was I? Okay.
We saw it after work together.
Well, now I was just trying to figure out, like, did I see it before, and I was like, just enjoying, remembering, the joke is about to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so clearly what was being told to me is that I should be writing all of these movies, because I'm so much smarter.
Because you're so much smarter. So stop clapping when it starts to taper off. As soon as this clapping starts to die down, it's okay to stop clapping. Clapping isn't a chance to interrupt a performance, it's a chance to celebrate it. Get quiet when the crowd, and don't act silly.
Don't enjoy yourself when clapping.
So how dare you prolong the clapping? If the other crowds decide it's done, you're finished.
Clapping has a natural half-life, and if you try to extend it past that, well, you're going to be the fool.
Well, then you're the fool.
Quite the fool. And that's on you.
So the next part just kind of gives you examples of what times you should clap. Clap at the end of a concert to request an encore.
That's how you request an
That's
encore?
how you just clap.
Never.
You don't chant encore.
You don't chant encore. You don't
just
chant the band's name.
You just clap.
You don't call out songs like Freebird.
No.
You just clap, in everybody in unison. Just everybody in the arena going.
And
actually, it sounds like a slow clap.
It does.
It's really hard.
That's hard. How do you gauge as an artist if you're wanting for an encore? If all you hear is just the drone of a clap.
Well, maybe that's the difference. Is a slow clap, there's 2 seconds between the initial claps. If it's 1 second between the initial claps, then people know that it's an encore. 0.5 seconds between it, it's somebody's bris.
So what we're saying is if you're not timing your claps, you're doing it wrong.
Right. You have to know there's a guidebook that goes around. It's how many seconds between and milliseconds between claps goes around is the standard clap rate.
That's it.
The SCP.
The
SCR.
The SCR.
SCR. There we go.
Everyone knows.
Boy, middle of the day, and I'm clearly very tired.
Okay, this next one I do not agree with at all. It says, applaud if you're being applauded.
Okay.
If, for some reason, you're on stage being celebrated, clapping along with everyone else can be a nice, humble-looking maneuver done properly.
But then, does the person who started the applause have to keep applauding because now they are being applauded back by the presenter?
I genuinely don't know.
Because then you create an infinite loop of clapping that no one can escape, ever.
Right.
There are people who have been lost to time.
Oh, yeah.
Stuck in rooms where nobody wanted to be the unpolite one who stopped applauding first.
So they just are stuck on a loop, just applauding until their end of days.
It's like Groundhog Day, but with red raw palms.
That sounds awful.
That's the intent.
And then this one just says, be careful when clapping during classical music.
Okay. Because
you have to refer to the program for specific instructions regarding clapping, or wait to clap until you hear other people clapping to be sure.
I wonder why they're clarifying classical music, because I feel like that's maybe true of a lot of music, just like down tempo or sad songs. You don't want clapping in the middle of it, even if there's like a cool
riff or something.
A cool riff.
I think this is just like for Mozart's sake. Like Mozart, not a lot of people know that he just did not like the clapping. He thought that it ruined everything because it set his metronomes off.
He was a
snapper. He believed in it fiercely. So if you're going to a Mozart concerto, you can't clap.
He thought, as you were saying, he thought his metronome sounded too much like clapping.
Yes.
So he just instead got some artificial robot fingers that will just snap every once in a while.
Yeah. Little did you know that Mozart had access to robots.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is the final part.
Gah. I don't know what I just said there. Gah.
I didn't question it.
Oh boy.
Clap after music at some churches. Traditionally, choral music is not applauded, and it is appreciated in rapt and contemplative silence.
Gonna pause you there. What? Core music?
Choral.
Choral.
Like choral.
I thought I heard choral, and I thought you were really mispronouncing choir.
Could you imagine?
I've never said CHOIR out loud. I thought it was core.
A core.
I thought it was
I
core.
love core rehearsals.
I'm gonna drink a liqueur and go to my core practice. What accent is this?
I don't know.
It's somewhere.
It's me at 5 a.m.
Is one of our listeners out there like, that's a perfect impression of me.
You got me.
Anyway,
okay, so
choral
that's
music.
it for that article.
Okay. I think some things didn't necessarily get covered. When classical music was brought up, I feel like you can extend that to many different areas. For instance, the In Memoriam.
Absolutely.
Where they demand that people don't applaud until the end.
Yes.
And everyone fucking does it
Everyone does. Always.
Because they don't want it to be a popularity contest.
But it is.
But for some reason, it is. every single time.
Every single time. Or at award shows when they're like, here are the nominees.
Right.
And then there's just like applause after each person.
Right,
I've
and then you can
always
tell,
hated that,
you can
'cause
tell
you're
who's
like,
going to win.
Okay, I got it.
The weird thing is, why haven't, especially for the in memoriam, but even for the nominees, why haven't they learned at this point to cut off the sound to the auditorium?
You make a very good point there.
Your head kind of tilted
like,
back, and your eyes
whoa.
went wide, as if this is like a great idea. It might be really weird. It might, but the suspense, I think, that you would be able to keep when you don't hear everybody going like, and Frances McDormand,
Yeah.
versus whoever else was up against Frances McDormand.
Yeah, and you're just like, damn it.
Yeah, I lost my Oscar poll.
Oh, sad.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do one because I'm not good at it. The community Q&A section is great, and this is my favorite question. Why does this article even exist?
Well, okay, so how do we want to answer that?
I think if you didn't have the developmental experience of clapping at a young age, you might not know all of the techniques or the appropriate situations in which to clap.
Yep.
So this article helps.
But actually, well,
Also, do you want to keep Jon Stewart alive? I think so.
I'm gonna almost disagree with you, but add on to what you're saying, because you bring up a very good point.
Yes.
This article could be really for people who don't know socially when are the appropriate moments to clap.
That's true.
However, it covered so little ground in that case.
So little.
A lot of it was the technical aspect of how to put one meat hand against another meat hand, and at what different paces you could do it, with what different intensities.
It's true.
But in terms of when to clap, it mostly covered music, and I think mostly church music.
Yeah.
Is the impression I get. Mostly classical and church music.
He didn't do a good job.
No, there's plenty of other
situations.
even non-music. Can you clap on a plane? Should you be able to do that?
Should you?
Or should
no.
it be? Or
Can
should it
you?
be?
Yes.
Or should it be a jailable offense? Some people would say
it should be jailable.
You just took a flight. Did people clap on either? Yeah, people clapped.
They
I feel
always
like
clap.
I feel like it's getting more popular
It
lately.
is. When I was little and flying, it was like maybe once or twice, and it was always like the flights to Florida when they landed in Florida that everyone, like, I don't know why, would clap because they were going to Disney World. Maybe.
You know what they say about Florida people? They always be clapping on the planes. But we took some flights for work like a couple years ago. I don't remember there being that much clapping. Those are in other countries. That was in Europe and Australia.
Yeah.
So you went to Germany.
Yes.
Were people clapping on the landing in Germany or on the landing back in Toronto?
People were clapping on the landing back in Toronto, and I was like, if this says anything about Canadian culture, I hate it.
Okay, so North America potentially is
just a breeding ground, a cesspool for clapping on planes.
We need to quarantine North American clappers. They are not allowed to fly out of the country or back in. I don't know how a quarantine necessarily works.
All of the things say before you get on a plane, do you agree not to clap when this lands? Mm-hmm. And if you check no, sorry, bro, you're not getting on the plane.
Did somebody tamper with your bag? Yes or no? Have you interacted with farm animals lately? Yes or no?
Did you clap when this plane landed? Yes or no?
Also, sub questions. What is clapping? Is it when you put your fingers towards the sky and hit the hands together, or do you do the two fingers? Because we will almost accept the two fingers in this case.
But we will not accept the other
just to try to ramp down the intensity of the clapping upon landing.
True.
So what we have to do is we have to quarantine all the North American people, and as soon as they annoy each other to death about all the clapping when landing planes or in movie theaters.
Oh,
I'm kind of okay with the movie theater
one.
Are
you?
I don't know why. I can't really articulate why, except that it's I don't know. You laugh in a movie theater. You can like gasp or enjoy yourself in a movie theater.
I don't see the point. I'm just controversial opinion.
Go for
Unless the actors and the directors or somebody involved in making the movie are in the theater, I don't think there's a reason to clap.
Here's my counterpoint.
Okay.
A movie theater.
Yes.
And it's increasingly one of the only reasons to go to the movie theater.
Yes.
Especially for like a big blockbuster that might have some twists or something, or a comedy or a horror movie, although horror is not my thing.
Yeah.
Movie theater is a communal experience.
Yes. Oh, true.
Part of it is that, you get to see the movie much earlier than you would at home. But also, if you don't want a crowd reaction, don't go when there's going to be a crowd.
That is true.
So to a degree, it's also like at the end of a play or something. I mean, I guess they're in person at a play, but it's a little bit like turning to somebody and going like, why are you laughing? I'm trying to enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Can you It's also like it's during the end credits. You're not missing anything.
True. It's very true.
So I've turned you around on this, apparently.
I also realized that I clapped at the end of Black Panther, so my own argument was unjust.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that's it for this week's article. I hope you learned how to put those slabs of meat together to make a loud noise, because I sure did.
Yeah. Meat hands.
Meat hands, eye clapping is not a thing.
Eye clapping?
Yeah, I'm winking.
Oh, right. I'm very mad about that. I forgot.
I hate it.
And learning timing. Timing is very important. 2 seconds versus 1 second versus 0.5.
It's the difference between being a buffoon and being in. If you
get really advanced with it, you can mix up the different timings. It's kind of like Morse code, where the different lengths and timing of it will tell you different messages. That's for the advanced users. But if you just start going like,
oh,
and everyone's looking at you, know that they're looking at you because they understand.
Just want your genius.
They know, they were like, wow, I'm really impressed with that guy.
Oh shit!
They don't think you're weird.
Friends with them. Exactly.
If you need to make friends, the number one way is to go up to somebody on the street and go.
Instant friends.
Yeah. So on that note, you've made some friends.
Some friends.
Next time you see one of us in person, come up to us and just start clapping in our face, and we'll definitely remember that I said this now, and we won't be weirded out at all.
We won't be weirded out at all.
I think that's it for this week.
Yeah. If you would like to suggest an article, you can leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or any other platform, I think, with the name of an article in there, and we will read it on the show. You can also send us in things at How to Not Show on Twitter, because that's where we are. Was that coherent?
You can also send us in things.
I don't know.
I think what you're trying to say, if you want us to read an article, you can put it in that review, or you can send it to us on Twitter and we will consider it.
Hell yeah.
You can also leave a review that's just a normal 5-star review. If
you leave us a 1-star review, Mozart will come after you clapping.
He'll just follow you around, and he's like, I hate this, but this is what I will haunt you with.
Yes,
That's how much 1-star reviews are the devil.
Exactly.
I think we've finished this off at exactly the right time, as the delirium has started to set in, and we were mostly coherent until this point. We were. And now I apologize for the last couple minutes.
There you go.
Or some of the references I made in the middle of the podcast, which made no sense. But I think the coffee is wearing off now.
Yeah, there we go.
So I think we should go.
We're good, and I'm gonna play us out. Boo boo doo boo boo doo. Clapping.